All right, what is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, as always, and today I'm going to break down if the Chiefs should bring back free agent cornerback Bashaud Breeland. So, the Chiefs are in some dire need of a cornerback, and going into this season, the roster contains cornerbacks like DeAndre Baker, Bo Pete Keys, Charvarius Ward, Rashad Fenton, and finally, L'Jarius Sneed. I see maybe one cornerback that could be a potential star in there in L'Jarius Sneed. The other guys are serviceable and usable, but I don't see a true number two. Maybe you could say that Charvarius Ward is capable of being that number two. I'm not that high on him. I mean, he's consistent, but he also gives up about one big play every once in a while. And, as a cornerback, you kind of expect that, but he's a little bit too infrequent for me, and I think that maybe you go out and get somebody like Bashaud Breeland who knows this system. He's been here for a while. For the past 2 years, he's signed one-year deals with the team. Last year, he signed a one-year deal worth $3 million, and in my opinion, we got a pretty good cornerback for that price. He had 38 tackles and 2 interceptions last year. And I think that as a number 2 cornerback to L'Jarius Sneed, who's going to take that number one role next year, I think that this is a dude that I want on this team. I really don't think that he's going to get that much money. I think that the cornerback market's kind of collapsed at this point. Guys like Richard Sherman are still available. He's completely washed. I want nothing to do with him. But Bashaud Breeland, in my opinion, does still have something left in the tank. I think that you give him a little bit of a nice deal because, you're still bringing back a guy that was instrumental in helping this team win a championship, but I don't think that he's going to break the bank. I think that he initially wanted that big contract, as most cornerbacks do, but the market just does not hold that in the cards for anybody right now. I think that maybe you can bring him back on a one-year deal worth $3 or $4 million. And he could play out this year just hoping that if he does perform well, which I think that he would, but if he does perform well, he's going to get that 4 or 5 year contract that he so desperately wants, and he's going to get paid. But right now, I think that he's just got to come to the realization no one's going to pay him. He's just not going to get that 2 or 3 year deal that he really wants because the market right now is not what it used to be. Again, we'll see what happens next year after this COVID stuff goes away and the cap skyrockets. But right now, I think that you could go in and steal a guy like Breeland for like 1 year on a $2 or $3 million contract, and I would take that all day because I think that he adds so much to this team in terms of a veteran presence, a leader. Keep in mind, Bashaud Breeland was a number 1 corner with the Washington Redskins. I guess it's the Washington football team. I don't really care if you cancel me, but he was the number 1 cornerback with Washington, and he went to Green Bay where he was a very good number 2. So I do think that you can get a guy like Breeland for a reasonable contract. He offers a lot in terms of leadership, veteran experience, and he's just not going to get beat on a ton of plays. He does come close to costing the Chiefs the game here or there with his holding penalties, but he just always seems to find a way to be in the right place at the right time and win games. I remember in New England in 2019, he made that play against Julian Edelman to knock that ball down, and it won the Chiefs the game. And he's done that on numerous occasions, and he's come up with big picks, and he's come up with solid coverages, and I just think that for what the Chiefs have right now, you got DeAndre Baker. I get it. He's a good cornerback, but he broke his leg in Week 17. We don't even know if he's going to play this year. So let's kind of just take him out of the equation. He could be a good number 2, but again, let's just expect him not to play. Bo Pete Keys was a 7th-round draft pick. I'm not really high on him. He didn't play at all last year. You got guys like Charvarius Ward, who, like I said, he could be a good number 2. He's a little bit too inconsistent for my liking. You got guys like Rashad Fenton. He's a good slot corner, but again, he's not a number 2. He's serviceable as best. And you got L'Jarius Sneed, who could be a number 1 corner, and I think that the want out of this Chiefs front office is that he develops into that. But right now, we just got to get somebody that has a little bit more experience. So, like I said, I think that if the cards are aligning and you can go out and get a guy like Bashaud Breeland, in my opinion, you need to do that. I think that it's a low risk, but a medium to high reward. And for what the Chiefs have going for them right now, you're a cornerback away from having a very, very good chance at winning the Super Bowl next year. Right now, in my mind, that's really the only glaring weakness, is that you don't have that number 2 cornerback alongside Snead. I think that if you fill that with Breeland or even somebody else, I think that Brett Veach is going to do his best to make sure that this team has no holes. I mean, you're obviously going to have some holes as a football team, but I think that whether it is using Tyrann Mathieu in more of a corner role, moving him around, maybe Juan Thornhill. They just brought in a guy by the name of Will Parks, who's a safety. He played with both the Eagles and the Broncos, but in my opinion, he's kind of mediocre at best. So right now, actually, that brings up a good point. Yesterday, or today, at the time you're reading this, or seeing this rather, they signed Will Parks and wide receiver Chris Fink to the team. So the 90-man roster is filled up, but I don't think that's going to stop Brett Veach. I really don't. So I think that a reunion with Bashaud Breeland would be a welcome thing. I would like it back. I don't know what you guys feel about this in the comments down below. Do you think that he could be a solid number 2 cornerback on this team, and do you want him back? In my opinion, I think that this team is so close to getting back to the Super Bowl. Why mess up what's already been working? I mean, he's been signing these 1-year contracts, and he's been doing pretty well under those. So I would say do this again and bring him back for the 3rd straight year and have a good chance to win the Super Bowl next year, knowing that your secondary has that number 2 guy that can be consistent and help this Chiefs team win games. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for more of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram for more of the latest updates on future videos, as well as instant Chiefs news right after it happens. You can also support the channel via the Patreon, as well as buying merchandise from the KC Sports Report store on Teespring. The links to all of those websites will be in the description. You just listened to the KC Sports Report, presented by Michael Darcy.